the little tiny daily things that you do every single day to ensure I'm doing the work. I'm constantly growing and evolving and changing and adapting and becoming Alec.
It goes back to an old saying that God hid happiness in the hardest place to find. He originally thought about hiding it on the highest mountain in the world, but understood that man or woman would climb that mountain one day, achieve it, find it, share it with the world, sell it. Thought about the same thing about the deepest depths of the ocean. Understood man would build a machine one day to get there. So they hid it inside of all of us. The last place anyone wants to look.
Welcome to Rise Above. I'm Kevin Lanning, your host. Today, we're joined by Alec, a true testament to resilience at just 27 years old. Alec's journey is nothing short of miraculous, celebrating 5 years of sobriety and owning 3 successful businesses. Joining me in this captivating conversation is my esteemed co-host, the incredible Kayla Harrison. Together, we'll explore Alec's remarkable journey of overcoming adversity, seizing opportunities, and achieving remarkable success. This is Rise Above, where stories of triumph and inspiration come alive. Let's dive in.
Alec, welcome.
Talk to me.
Welcome to Rise Above.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, guys.
We're finally here. This was like a month in the making.
A month, yeah, about so.
Awesome.
More than probably, yeah.
For
it's
us,
been a
it was
while.
more than a
Yeah.
month. Someone had to close a big deal with the USC. Do some big things.
We love that. We love
Delay
that.
us,
Yes, always stay closing.
Us
Yeah.
small timers,
Not at all. So, Alec, tell me a little bit. Kevin has a relationship with you, but I don't. So, just for our listeners and for me, tell me a little bit about yourself. What's going on? Where you live? Where now?
I live in Boynton Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
This area.
Grew up in Long Island, New York.
Oh, a little
till-
Long Islander. Okay.
Yeah, of course, until the send off to college.
finest.
Good upbringing in Long Island. Parents the best.
Yes.
Divorced at 12, but definitely for the best.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good at the co-parenting. Me and my brother definitely got into some trouble when we were younger. Not to the point of where we
Is this
were.
like a Long Island thing?
I guess
Yeah.
so. Not
All
to the point of
boys.
like where we were getting sent away or anything for jail or anything, but definitely getting into the trouble where we could find it. And, we went through our days in middle school, went through our days in high school. We
Yeah.
both got sent out to college. I ended up playing volleyball over in Johnson and Wales.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And I
So you're an athlete.
I was an athlete, I should say. I'm
Okay.
full dad bod right now. But yeah, I took the college as a good start to kind of getting outside of the life of living under my parents' roof, and it felt good. So and a point came early on in college where I left. Never graduated, never even finished a year, honestly. And I went back to my mother's. I saved up a little bit of cash. I moved into Manhattan with my 2 best friends at the time. And I got into work in merchant cash advances with my brother. He was in the industry a little bit longer.
What's that? Sorry. Don't mean to interrupt the flow, but what's merchant cash? What's that?
I guess a nice way to say it is hard money lending.
Okay.
It's a good industry and a bad industry. It's
Okay.
pretty much when you can't get money from a bank, you go to these people at very predatory interests. So
Oh no, you're a shark.
once
Was.
was. I am a retired shark.
Okay.
And yeah, after those days, I spent a few years doing that. Hit a few more rough patches. Moved back with my mother, and she got me down here in Florida to get sober. Get outside of myself. Humble myself a little bit. My days in growing up in Long Island, I'm just surrounded by the secret life of the rich. And then the same when I got into Manhattan.
Were you wealthy growing up? Did you guys have a lot of money?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I was middle class my entire life.
Yeah.
As my parents have gotten older, they actually have come into more money as me and my brother have gotten out of the house. But growing up, no, we lived in a small apartment in Brooklyn when I was first born. My mother was a social worker working in an adoption agency, and my father was a prosecutor.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Look at them, humble servants of society.
Yes, they
I
are.
love that.
Yeah, they have been wonderful life teachers.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so how old were you, Kevin? Sorry if I'm like taking over here, buddy.
No, you're good. You're going with it.
How old were you when you moved to Manhattan? You said you moved with your buddies?
Yeah, so pretty much, that's 17, then 18 in college, so 18 to 19.
So you're
my
living
move-in.
in Manhattan and you're 19 years old.
Yeah, Lower East Side, Alphabet City.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What
It
year was that? 2017, 18?
16.
16?
Yeah, 16 was
Alphabet
my
City.
move-in. Alphabet City, a lot of fun. Yeah.
What's your best Alphabet City story?
Oh my God, the ones that I could remember. I would have to say I had some friends come out from Cali, and they brought their huge Bearmese mountain dog, had to be like 140 pounds, brought him on the airplane as a service animal before it got
gosh.
too blown up. And he was a clothing designer to a very niche market, I should say. It was very hardcore LA street brand clothing.
Okay.
And we just go outside one day. We're outside walking with Bruce. We walk out the front door, and out of nowhere, this guy comes running up the street to my friend Tariq, who, R.I.P., rest in peace, he passed away from an overdose, and saw his clothing. He has 2 big camera lights in his hands and a huge camera on his back, and starts doing an entire photo shoot. Just like that. It was like 9:30 in the morning. We were going to get bacon, egg, and cheeses. And just
Oh my
like that,
gosh.
whole photo shoot on him.
Really?
Yeah, just out of nowhere. And like, that's what you get to experience with millions of people around you in Manhattan.
Yeah.
You get this huge mash of culture.
Yeah.
You know, down here, we still get like a sense of a city life. And, you know, late night, I'm sure you see some weird stuff on the Ave in Delray Beach, but that's the extent to our savageness down here, you know?
Totally. No, New York is a different animal. Like it's
Oh, yeah. It'll eat you
yeah,
alive.
you lived in New York for how long?
12 years.
Yeah.
I was in New York City. You see everything.
Everything.
Every walk of life, like
Yeah.
you said, just everyone collides.
Yeah.
And the craziest shit happen.
Definitely expands your life experience.
I can
living
only
in
last
somewhere
like
that.
12 days in New York City. Like
It's
I
a
get to
lot.
day 3 and I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
I need some I need to hear a rooster crow or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is out of control.
You sent me a voice note one time when you were walking through Manhattan with your kids, and you're like, "Oh, like get out of my way! Like get over here!
It gives me anxiety.
Kayla, let's go!
You know,
We gotta get here!"
It gives me anxiety. I can't imagine the level of like just stress just from where
Oh
you
my
live.
God,
Like
yeah.
in a place like
It's
when you
insane.
live like in a place like that, just naturally your level of stress is so much higher probably than someone who lives in Arkansas.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The motion of life is just so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a rat
Everything is
race.
flying.
It's a
Did
rat
you
race.
feel your stress levels come down once you came down to Delray?
Not at first because I was
You were
detoxing,
detoxing,
so
coming
the
out,
post-acute
you could tell,
withdrawals
yeah.
were not treating me
That's a
so
good
well.
point. Yeah.
But once that kind of subsided, it got pretty cool, pretty nice.
Once
you
the
know,
fog cleared up.
yeah, everything slowed down a lot. But what I've kind of noticed is a really, really, really close friend of mine has said something that stuck with me for a really long time is if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And I've noticed that a lot of my friends are very business-oriented, business-savvy, so they're just naturally quicker-paced people. And to be honest, I just grab the line and I just keep moving with them. So I find that fast-paced life down here just as much as I would in Manhattan. You know, I just
Yeah.
don't
Good
get
point.
the...
You find your kind.
Yeah, I don't get the blessings of the restaurants, you know, that come a dime a dozen.
You
and,
don't like the restaurants in Delray?
Oh my God, they're all right, but like
food
it's not
sucks
like
around
yeah,
here.
it's,
Come
it's
on.
not like going to Per Se or something.
Yeah.
You
Don't
know,
act like you
I
were
mean-
born and raised here either.
I mean, no, I wasn't. I was born and raised in Ohio, so this is very fancy
yeah.
for me.
No, I could definitely give Del Rey some pretty phenomenal shout outs for some restaurants here.
I get what you're saying, though. No,
Yeah.
New York is like, no, it's a smart. You can get anything you want at any time
Yeah,
you want,
at any
anywhere,
time.
any place.
Yeah,
and
3
that
in the
goes
morning.
for food or drugs or
Yeah,
like
anything.
entertainment or totally anything. The world is at your fingertips.
anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
Depression.
Yeah,
Whatever
Joy.
you want, we got it.
yeah, exactly.
So you've mentioned a couple times, you've talked a couple times about you came down here for detox. Do you care to, before we get to that part of your life, I would like to just touch a little bit on how you got to to addiction and sort of
Yeah, we
maybe
could-
the backstory of that.
Yeah, we could go a little dark. So
We go dark to go light.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta break down for a healing process.
Amen.
So at 13, I got into a non-kosher style of business because all of my friends around me, had daddy's money, daddy's credit card. They could get whatever they want at any time, and I just did not have that privilege. And to be honest, a major fear in my life is jealousy. And with that, I wanted what they had. And me being any type of addict mindset, I will do whatever I need to do to get what I want whenever I want it. And at that moment, it was money. It had nothing to do with the drugs. It had nothing to do with the alcohol. I had an addiction to having what everyone else had and to get more just to prove myself. And that pretty much took me for a long term of 13 to 22 of this style of business on the side, which, knock on wood, thank God, I've never gotten in trouble for. I've never faced any type of major losses besides emotionals. But I really learned that, from that, I was the only person that pushed everything away. And throughout that time, that kind of got me to that point of detox was I just pushed everyone out of my life. My mother didn't want me at the home. She said she would call the police if I came back. Me and my father really didn't have any type of talking relationship. And my brother, my best friend, the person I'd do anything for, he couldn't do it anymore. He told me no, which I get very emotional about now.
Yeah.
My brother is like the person that I look up to more than anything in this universe. And my grandfather being one of them as well, and my father now too. So not knowing that and me thinking my own ways of thinking that I know better than everyone else, I shoved everyone away, and I just continued going down the negative path that I was on, which ended up losing my apartment in Manhattan, me begging my mother to come home, and she let me in. My mother is the sweetest woman in the world. You would never harm a fly. She was like a hippie when she was growing up. She's super fun to hang out with too.
Yeah.
She's definitely a homie, but she finally let me back into the house and wrecked that in about 4 months. And on my birthday, January 3rd of 2019, my parents were not really big gift givers, but they told me that they got me something this year, and it was a decision that I had to make for myself if I wanted the present or not. So showed up at the house with my friend Matt, and pretty much it was, hey, we have this place to a treatment center in South Florida. You could either get out of our house right now, or you could go there.
Wow.
And my whole family has never experienced any type of addiction before, so we were very naive to it.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to detox. I detoxed off of benzos and alcohol in my mother's basement prior to getting on a plane 5 days later to get here in Boca Raton to go to rehab.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I had a lot of those presents from
Yeah.
my parents. Oh my God.
Yep.
It was a monthly present for me. They're like, oh, you going this month or what?
Yeah.
We got to take you.
Shout out to them. It's a very
It
expensive
is crazy.
present.
Well, let me-
Seeing the bills a little bit later, oh my God.
Insane. Let me ask you a question. So you said, after 4 months of moving back home and living with your mom, you wrecked it. Was it, at that point, did your mom start to detach from you and start, because my parents, they let me live at home for like a minute. And then they were just like, you know what? Like, we can't be part of your life anymore. We cannot enable you anymore. You can't come to holidays anymore. Like, my entire family sat me down. And that for me was like, wait a minute.
These are my people.
Like,
Yeah.
You're going to just leave your son?
Right.
Yeah.
And the ones who are very close to you have to do that in order for
Have to.
you to realize what
Yep.
you're doing to them.
It's a necessity.
Not only to yourself.
Healing is a process that's mainly done on your own. It's all inside your brain. No one else could get inside there and kind of, tweak the nuts and bolts that kind of need to be messed around.
I find too that if you have a little bit, you can turn that in your head into a lot. Like your mom let you move back in. You're like, well, I'm not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know, my parents still love me. They're still here. They're still this. They're still that. This isn't really rock bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was your rock bottom? Like, how did you get there? What happened? Your parents just were like, when your parents gave you this gift, you said, oh shit, I have a problem? Or like, how did it happen in your eyes?
To be honest, I'd have to say it was within a month prior. I kind of came to terms with knowing that I had a problem just from, friends kind of hinting at it and me being refusant at it immediately. So I came to terms with it kind of at first. This was like the first time I've ever went to rehab or anything. So my rock bottom, the most important thing in my life, which again, we need to kind of harp at social media, it very much so is fake. So I may wear expensive things, I may wear expensive shoes or an expensive belt or an expensive pair of pants, but that doesn't get to the main thing. That doesn't mean that my life is good. My rock bottom, my thing that means something to me, the clothing means nothing, is my family. When the moment that I knew that I wasn't even allowed in my mother's home again, that was my rock bottom. My family is irreplaceable to me. Again, I grew up well. My parents were very good to me, so I learned the real meaning of family, and with that was definitely my hardest loss. I went through financial losses, but at the end of the day, it's refillable. For the people that decide to look at a cup half full or half empty, you got to constantly remind yourself that there's a sink right around the corner and you could refill your glass if you use the tools in your brain.
The pastor at my church always says, this is like one of my favorite quotes. He says, if the problem you have can be solved with money, it's not a real problem.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, that's so true, right? If money can fix it, it's not a problem.
It's an inconvenience or a nuisance. That's all it is. And we catastrophize these things in our brains to be something more than they ever were.
But losing your family.
That is definitely not surface level. That was deep and it hurt.
Money can't fix that,
No, it cannot. And that was definitely the hardest lesson I ever had to learn. But I still have them in my life. They've taught me the most important lessons I've ever learned, besides some of the lessons that I had to smack my head against the wall to learn.
We have those.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you hit rock bottom. Your mom says you can't come back here. Here's a present.
You get
your father and I, essentially, a very expensive present to go down to rehab.
Yeah.
And you said you detoxed, and 5 days later you came down to Boca.
Yeah.
And tell me about that. I've never been to rehab, so
the experience was very culture shocking. Prior to I was only at my mother's house for 4 months, and the friends that I was actually with were in the billionaire lifestyle. The families of Anheuser-Busch InBev and just major companies.
Players,
and, so I'm on their 160-foot yachts in Battery Park City and their private jets from, Westchester over to Aspen and back to Miami and then back to Westchester. So going from that to me being told I'm only allowed to have $75 a week for food, the first 2 months, I'm in a constant state of panic. I don't know what to do besides to use the only means of manipulation that I had, because to be honest, my base is sales. I am a very good salesman. I could get by anywhere. You put me anywhere in the world, I'll make sure I have money in my pocket, enough to feed my family, the friends around me, and make sure that everyone's healthy as well. So with the whole sales thing, I just drew a complete blank.
You said when you were in rehab, the first couple months you were in a state of panic because you only had $75.
Yeah.
Structured lifestyle that you were living.
So I had a therapist in there, of course. First therapist, I had to be changed within 3 days because I said some very hurtful words to the first therapist and called the police on him. The second day there, because me being a maniac and my father being a lawyer, I read the bylaws of private institutions in the state of Florida, so I knew what I could and couldn't have.
You were one of those.
So I was one of those, and on my second day, I called the cops, and I, was just causing the havoc where I could. But I get called into my new therapist's office, and just the money wasn't enough. The $75 wasn't enough. And my background, both of my parents are Jewish. So I told them, which I've never been a day in my life, that I'm kosher. And I was the only person that got an extra $50 a week for food. So I was able to get my $125 a week.
Wow.
The manipulation.
Yeah, the manipulation worked for
Yeah.
about 3 months until I get back into my therapist's office. And for some crazy reason, my father, who I haven't spoken to in 2 months, is on speakerphone.
Oh,
Saying,
snap.
yeah, is it okay to curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course,
Okay,
man.
cool.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Drop it.
Why the fuck did you tell your therapist that you're kosher? I've seen you eating bacon a million times.
Dang. He
That's
threw
what
you
I get.
right under the
right
bus.
under the bus. That's what I get
I
when
actually
I walk
really
in
like
there.
your parents, by the way.
Yeah, they're
Just
badass.
Like,
Yeah, they're pretty chill.
no, they're
Super
like,
chill. Yeah, like... And,
like, I want to be friends with your mom.
Yes,
I want to
yeah.
be the cool hippie mom.
yeah. She's awesome. She's
wants a
awesome.
present.
Yeah,
A
and
present.
she's super into art. She's got all the fun stuff. She was always about me
Dad's
having
like,
friends
you
over.
fucking liar.
Yeah.
You can't lie in therapy.
My dad was the tough one too, but he was also the easiest to manipulate.
Yeah.
The easiest, because he's just so he's one to wear his emotions on his sleeve, so I know what he's thinking at all times sometimes. And another time I manipulated, while I was in the same rehab, he came down to visit me after like 4 months finally, and I talked him into getting me a Jewel. I wanted a vape.
A vape.
I wanted a
yeah.
vape. I was done
Mango?
smoking cigarettes.
Mango, Jewel?
Yeah, of course,
Oh,
of
okay.
course.
Yeah.
2019, they weren't fully gone then.
No.
And I talk him into getting me a Jewel, which is totally not cool to have in the treatment center. Like, big no-no.
Oh, really?
So I got it for like a week, and like, again,
You were like
therapist's
sneaking
office.
around with the little.
Yeah, sneaking around.
vape?
Didn't tell anyone about it. I wouldn't tell anyone. I would hide it under my mattress and the zipper, because there was like a full cover on the mattress, and I'd hide it in there. And like, again, father on speakerphone in therapist's office. Why did you tell me it was okay to have a vape? And I was like, yeah, Dad, I did it again. I did it again. And then again, immediately, I just lie right away. It was just natural for me in the past. I was just such a piece of shit. Immediately, you need to hand it over to Sophie, your therapist. And I was like, I can't do that. I already threw it out. Again, me knowing in the zipper, in my mattress.
Wow.
Even had the tech come with me back to the rooms to look through the trash, because I told him that it was in the trash. And he sifted through the trash. Me standing there knowing it was just in my mattress.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, total asshole.
Wow.
You know what I love about this story? I did all of the same things you did. Cut all of those corners.
Yeah.
I manipulated my first year of sobriety. But I want to say something. Like, that is so common amongst people who are changing their life and getting sober, getting clean,
Oh, yeah.
going through anything. And, listen, is it strongly encouraged to start doing the right thing from day one? Yes. Can you work a program perfectly? I'm sure one can achieve it.
No, there's
But
no perfect people.
But
No.
the likelihood of it is very slim.
Very
And
slim.
I think that I'm not saying it's okay to the viewers, to people listening, to cut those corners, but easy does it. One thing
Absolutely.
at a time.
I think that's such
Absolutely.
a beautiful, like,
it's so
it's
overwhelming.
so important to give ourselves grace. We live in this society where it's like,
it is.
like you said, social media and this idea that like you have to do it. I mean, I grew up as a perfectionist, right? Like I thought I lied and manipulated
really?
too, because
You
I
did?
wanted to be perfect in everyone's eyes. So I didn't lie and manipulate because of an addiction. I mean, I did. I lied and manipulated because I was addicted to people loving me and thinking I was perfect and thinking I was a winner and being a star and being a straight A student and being a gold medalist. So I get that. But I think that's so important for us to remember is like grace for yourself, for others.
100%.
I remember that for others too now, because I know we're all flawed, fucked up individuals, literally just doing the best we can. And dude, kudos to you, because shedding an old skin, shedding old habits, like growing is hard and uncomfortable. And like, yeah, you lied about a vape, but like, you made it.
I made it.
You
exactly.
lied about being
I get
kosher,
to be
but
a
you
productive
made
member
it.
of society today.
And you took action when your father called you out. If it were me, I would be like, no, it was a USB stick that I had. I didn't have a vape. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't have a vape. And I kept lying. You know,
Yeah.
so good for you, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how long were you in rehab for?
Oh my God, I did like 6 months of PHP, so like in a facility, no cell phone,
PHP is
partial hospitalization program.
okay.
And then I went from after pretty much 6 months there, which I don't know how my insurance went the entire time, and then continued into an IOP facility for an additional about 3 months with that.
What's IOP?
IOP is intensive outpatient.
Yeah, okay.
So I would be able to not have to live at a facility,
Right.
but I would have to go to like group meetings once a day or 3 times a week or whatever it was, wherever you were along your process. Yeah.
And what was like? Is it okay if we get really personal?
Go.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What was the number one thing that you learned from your time in this intensive? I mean, 6 months. That's a long time, and then another 3 months intensive outpatient. Like, what was the number one thing that you learned about yourself? And I guess, how did you utilize that?
So I guess there's 2 things that I learned, one about self and one about life. I think the most important one was actually the life lesson that I learned. And it goes back to an old saying that God hid happiness in the hardest place to find. He originally thought about hiding it on the highest mountain in the world, but understood that man or woman would climb that mountain one day, achieve it, find it, share it with the world, sell it. And then thought about the same thing about the deepest depths of the ocean. Understood man would build a machine one day to get there. So they hid it inside of all of us. Last place anyone wants to look.
Well said.
So
Ooh, that was good.
yeah.
I know.
Where's
So
my
every
notebook?
yeah.
Am I allowed to bring
is
my
there a
notebook
bomb
to these?
drop
Yeah.
Bomb
noise that I
drop.
can make?
There you go.
Wait, I think no.
So
Kevin's over here
like
pushing
hitting buttons.
buttons.
yeah, that lesson went
Wow.
very far for me. So
I
I've
love
done
that.
I've done a lot of internal searching, which I found a lot of myself, but there is something that I've learned from having money, being poor, is you're always going to have problems. You're always going to have some sort of anxiety. All of these things in your life, they're never going to go away. The problem is just going to change. If it's a financial problem, if it's an emotional problem, again, you're freaking out about $25 because you only got 26 in your bank account, or you're thinking about the $25 million you're getting sued for and you only got 26 mil in your bank account.
You're so right, dude.
So with that, don't expect from doing these major life changes that your world is going to become perfect. Like you said,
Right.
there's no one that's perfect.
Right.
So that means there's nothing that's perfect.
Yeah.
So when we kind of come to terms with that, life does become easier.
Yeah.
And I have found a way to allow life to come with ease, which has found my happiness.
Yeah, one of my mentors, his saying is like, every day a new indignity.
Yeah.
Like, I was of the same vein. I always thought like, I'll be happy when I'm an Olympic champion. I'll be happy when I'm a millionaire. I'll be happy when I have kids. I'll be happy when I'm married. I'll be, and I just kept thinking like, where the fuck is this happiness? Where is it? Why am I not feeling joy?
Yeah.
Like, why is it never enough? Never enough. And every day there's a new indignity and a new thing and a new, but you're right. It's within.
Yeah, money will
so
not
good.
create happiness. I believe that there was about a 50-year Harvard study that showed that about an income of $400,000 will create a life with ease, but it will not create a happy life. So once you reach this sort of income in your life, you will be able to have the things that the 99% of the world does not achieve. That $1 million home, maybe the S560 Maybach if you're an older gentleman and like to drive a fancier vehicle, or if you're more sporty and you want to drive an M5 competition, but you get the toys, you get all these gadgets, but you won't get happiness.
He's not speaking my language anymore.
Yeah, sorry.
She is the most humble person.
I love cars.
What
I love cars. Cars is a weakness for me.
Okay,
Big fan of them. Yeah.
All right. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Roll with it.
Yeah. But
So do you drive a nice car now?
no, not at all, actually.
Ooh,
I owe no money
interesting.
on the car. I am, like I said, not to make any Jewish jokes, but my parents are Jewish and they taught me very well how to be frugal. So I bought a car in cash, and it's not a cheap car, it's a Cadillac.
Okay.
So it's a good car,
Okay.
but it's I'm planning on buying something new, but it's hard to come to terms with giving up money. I like seeing things go up, not down, you know, and at the end of the day, realistically, where I am in my life, the only appreciating vehicles that I could buy are kind of out of my price range. So everything is at a deficit if I purchase a car right now. Yeah, so...
it gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I just try to remind myself every day, because I just every day keep on looking at new cars to buy.
Oh, come
So
on.
I'm
You're
there.
allowed to dream. You're
Yeah,
allowed to have
I'm
goals.
there.
That's not a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
good.
Goals are good. Dreams are not achievable.
Amen.
Yes. So I like my goals. I keep them very close to me. But going back to what you originally asked me about what I learned, number one thing I learned on the personal level, I think I learned how scared I was of life. That was probably the best lesson I learned about myself.
Fear of what, though, in life? Fear of success? Is it fear of failure? Is
Honestly,
it fear,
yeah.
where did the fear come from?
So I did an inventory in regards to a list of everything in the world that I'm fearful of. And I spent a lot of time working on that. And it taught me a lot of lessons about myself. And I think the major things that I'm scared of is judgment from others, not being successful, not being wanted, not being loved, not being accepted. You know, those are the main ongoing things. And to be honest, the fears that you have in life, they're going to come with fluctuation. You know, they're going to come and go. And it kind of just, you need to kind of learn to adapt with it.
Yeah.
You know, if they're rational or irrational fears, you know, being scared of skydiving is totally rational. Jumping out of a plane is like totally like not cool sometimes.
Have you ever done it?
I have not done it. I would
did it
totally
once.
do it though. I would do it. I am totally an adrenaline junkie.
Are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll like for my brother's birthday, I actually we got some cars to bring to a racetrack in Miami.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
we're taking out some pretty
That's
cool cars,
dope.
and we got a professional racer that's going to be out there as
No
well
way.
to drive us around too.
That's cool.
Yeah,
No, I love that. Like,
love it.
you were talking about fear, and I think it's important what you just touched on. Like, number one is that we all have fears, right? And they're all going to fluctuate. They're all going to go up and down. But these fears that you have, like, we come from two very different backgrounds, two very different walks of life, but I have those same fears.
Yeah,
I was always so afraid of not being loved or not being seen or not being or being judged, or am I enough? This was a big thing, you know, like never felt enough. And it's crazy to me, the more we dive into these interviews, the more I talk to people, the more I grow. Like, everybody feels like that.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking wild.
We gotta
and how we
remember.
deal with it
Yeah.
is just like the difference, you know? And like, your addiction is a symptom. It's not the actual problem. My
totally.
success was the symptom. It wasn't the actual problem. The problem is like this inner, like you said, you found yourself, you figured out where happiness is hidden, and it's in you.
Yeah, it's all
Mm.
internal. And I'm all about the struggle as well. I think that that's another lesson that I learned thinking about it a little bit more, is that just pain. Like, not in like a weird way, like I'm not like that way sex-wise at all, to be honest.
I am. No, I'm just
cool,
kidding. I'm kidding.
cool.
I'm kidding.
I
Totally for
knew
you,
it.
dude.
Just
Like,
kidding.
listen,
I knew it.
getting a little rough is cool and everything, but I'm not like one of those sodomists or anything. But like, I'm all about like the mental pain. So like, I'll sit in like an ice bath for 30 minutes, or I've done these
Holy
inipis, which is like a
shit.
Native American sweat lodge where you're literally like on these grounds.
Do you want to cut to 135 for me?
Oh yeah, no,
I'm
not.
gonna fly him out.
Not
He can help
happening.
me sit through a.
I am
Yeah, yeah,
struggling
he's got it.
losing
He's got
10
it.
pounds right now. But like the inipi, I think that was a really good life struggle lesson. It's these Native American sweat lodges that you just sit in, that these rocks are just burning in fires for like 18 hours before you get in, and you cover these huts with blankets.
How many degrees?
Oh, I couldn't even tell
190?
you, but a sauna makes this thing look like a baby.
Yeah.
Sauna's, usually like 105 or
Yeah,
something.
sauna's
I
nothing
don't even know.
compared to this. So you're sitting in this for like an hour, and
Mine's 63 degrees Celsius.
I got to give it. I think women are mentally stronger than us sometimes because they split it. The women are on
They
one
are.
side, and the men
They
are on the
are.
other side, and there's like 5 women and 5 men, and the 5 women are just sitting up there totally fine, like this is a breeze, and me, I'm like in a bathing suit. My shirt is off, my face is in the dirt, trying to find the cold air. Because, like, I knew I wasn't getting out. I knew I wasn't going to quit. So, like, I had to find cold air.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first time I went into a real sauna was in Finland. So
Yeah.
my baby mom is Finnish, and
You
the
gonna
baby
call
mama.
her that?
My ex-wife is Finnish, and we used to go.
There you go.
She's gonna listen to this and be like, "What the hell? Like, he's going crazy. He's
Baby
doing drugs
mama.
again." No,
Oh, God. Going off the deep end.
So I'm in Finland.
Take 52.
And everyone goes in co-ed completely naked. All the men are like, all right, American, like, let's go. Let's go into the sauna.
Yeah.
They jack it up. It goes up to like 195. They're fucking swinging the blankets around in there, making it hotter. Then they start hitting each other with like the birch trees
Are
to
you
open
kidding?
up the pores.
Oh, God.
I get out, and now I'm naked, and I'm the only one circumcised in there as well.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
they're like, "Oh, the American, he's got the
American.
cute pee-pee.
Oh,
He's got
that's
the
so
cute
funny.
pee-pee." And yeah,
Is
so
this like
yeah.
with her family? Like,
No,
is this like with
no,
like
no, no.
people you knew?
These were like the friends' husbands.
Okay,
So
okay,
it was
okay,
like the
okay.
guys, and then but and then they
That's
go
so
and cut a
funny.
hole in the lake, and through the ice and jump right
Thank
in.
God that you didn't say the
Savages.
wall.
Insane. No, not the wall.
That's funny. Dude, the first time I went to Europe, I was 13. I went to Estonia. I had a tournament there.
Wow.
And I had to cut, at the time, I was competing at 105 pounds. So I had to cut weight. And I'll never forget, I went into the locker room at the hotel because they had a sauna. And I'm 13 years old, like, doe-eyed and bushy-tailed, like just this, like, innocent little thing. And I walk in, and there is this old-ass man, and he is, like, so fat and so hairy and so naked.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh, my God, I went into the wrong locker room. And I, like, run out, and I, like, try to talk to the front desk lady, and she was like, no, together. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh, God.
so, like, I had to go in the sauna and cut weight with a bunch of old-ass hairy men, and here I am, like, 13 years old. Yeah.
It's wild. Our personal space.
Yeah.
As Americans, our personal space, we take it very serious.
They do this in the U.S. as well. Like, I was like 12 or 11 years old, and I think I was with my mother, one of her friends, and like a couple of my friends, and we went to this place in Queens called Spa Castle.
I've been there.
Yeah, and
Many
just like I'm like 11 years old, and I
Kevin
see
in the corner.
all these like adult naked guys, and like they're full grown penises, and I'm like 11
That
years
was
old
me.
looking at
Yeah.
myself, and I'm like, oh God. I was like, am I stuck with this thing for the rest of my life?
Oh my
Traumatizing.
goodness. Yeah,
Yeah.
saunas are traumatizing.
Yeah, talk
Okay,
about
good. I'm glad
long-term
we can
negative
all agree on
self-talk.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Shit, what the hell were we talking
So,
about?
okay. So you're in
Oh, I know.
sober living.
Yes.
Did you want to say something?
No, I did want to say, okay, I just wanted to say really quickly that I love that you like, I'm not going to call it pain,
Yeah.
but I think that like chosen suffering is important. It's an important part of life.
Yeah.
Like we're all going to suffer. To live is to suffer, right? I mean, how many times have you heard that growing up? But like the chosen suffering, like I have chosen to fucking get back in a sauna and make 135 pounds.
Exactly.
Like, I love that you have found a way to harness that and turn it into a power. Like, that's such a, it's like, yeah, dude, that's not a lot of people get there. How old are you? He's like,
I just turned
damn,
27 a
he's
few
wise
days ago.
beyond
Dude,
his years.
He is.
Yeah, 27 I just turned.
He is sober. 27. Has his own business.
Yeah, I own
With
3
a
companies.
co-founder. Okay, so all right, three companies.
Sorry, 3 companies.
Yeah, and
Are you single? Are you
Yeah,
looking for love? All right,
I just
ladies.
got out of a relationship actually 2 months ago. I've just
He's
deleted.
on the market,
Yeah,
gals.
no dating apps yet. Deleted social media. Just focusing
Good for
on
you.
work. Yeah.
Okay, what were you gonna say, Kevin? I didn't mean to like go off on a tangent.
No. So all right, so I've done sober living, the structured living.
Yeah.
Your budget on a daily basis, inpatient, and then whatever structured living that you obviously partake in following treatment.
Mm-hmm.
What was life like for you bridging back to life? Like, so did you know, like how they have, like sober jobs and,
Yeah, you're probably not going to believe my answer.
well,
Tell me.
You jumped right back in.
That was the happiest moment of my life. Happiest I've ever been my entire life.
Wow.
I had nothing. I had a job making $8.60 flipping burgers on the corner of Swinton and the Ave in Delray over at Docks.
Wow.
Walking to work if it was rain or shine, happiest human being alive.
Why?
Because I stopped caring about what everyone thought.
And you were working on yourself. I had the same exact experience.
I finally felt love from people around me as well. Like pure, honest love. You know,
You let people back in. You didn't use those coping mechanisms and push everyone away anymore. You were
No, I
willing
think
to
I'd let people in, not back in. I think I'd let people in for the first time in my entire life. I got on prescribed Xanax and Adderall by the age of 12 when my parents were divorced. I was speedballing by then, and I took Xanax prescribed from 12 to the age of 22 years old. So I didn't know what true, real, raw emotion was.
You were not. Yeah, you were just like a zombie. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
This
you were
dude did
happy.
the work, man.
I was very happy. I felt pure for the first time.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's
it was
amazing.
Oh, that
nice.
makes me so happy.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I get goosebumps sometimes thinking about it, you know?
So, okay, so what enabled you? And yes, all right, your life, this was the happiest time that in your life that you had experienced. Now, letting someone in, what did that process, like doing the work, like in terms of identification, like, okay, you're working, for me, it just happened and I didn't even really notice it. I looked back and I was like, holy cow, like this is different in my life. Like that relationship is a real relationship in my life. Like, wow, I called my parents without them texting me and telling me that I haven't reached out to them in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I just reached out to them and I didn't ask them for anything.
Yeah.
When did you realize that the change was starting to happen and you were doing the work?
So I knew, well, it happened before I noticed it. But it took me a little bit to notice what it was that kind of brought people back to me. And it's definitely attraction-based. You stop lying, people will like you. I just naturally stopped lying because, getting off of drugs and teaching me a moral path of life reiterated my brain processing to say in an easy way. And with that, I just, my natural reaction was not to lie or to deceive or any of negative, malicious intent.
Yeah.
It was all very
And
pure.
also like not giving a fuck, right? Like
Yeah.
I bet that made it easier to stop lying when you finally get to that point where you're just
For
like,
sure. And I think another thing that made me so happy is that a big part of my sobriety was helping people, which it was a very selfish thing that I did, though. It was very selfish what I did because I knew that if I helped people, I would feel better. I would be paid in a currency known as utils, which is the measurement of happiness. So again, I like money. I like numbers. I can then change the thought process to how I can purchase happiness.
Quantify it.
Exactly. And by helping other people, I just naturally became happier,
Isn't
more
that so
honest,
funny?
more energy.
It's crazy. The void filling actions that you were taking when you were living on Long Island, I did the same thing. The fear, I was riddled with paralyzing fear.
Yeah.
And then
we talked about this, yeah.
once I started partaking in self-esteemable acts, i.e., helping other people,
Exactly.
all of that the anxiety just started to go away. And I
Exactly.
stopped giving a shit. I stopped, waking up. Well, look, everyone wakes up with some kind of, that's why they say meditate in the program. But, a majority of that fear was lifted.
Yeah.
So
What do they say? Happiness is the one thing you have to give away to keep. Like, you're not, like when you hold on to something, when you're
Right.
focused on yourself, when it's I, ego.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about your true self, like what I call the soul or the spirit. I'm talking about like you said, money, things, material.
Yeah, it does nothing.
Yeah, but when you push all that bullshit aside and you genuinely want to, and it doesn't matter how you start, by the way, in my opinion, I think yeah, if you're helping people because you want to feel better, it doesn't matter. That's how you start, but that's not how it ends.
No.
Usually by the time you're done, you're like, oh, fuck, like, I do feel better, but I can't believe I just did that. Like that.
Yeah, it's great. It's like sometimes you get the same feeling just on a very minimal scale of like when you complete your laundry. At least for me, it's like I hate the task, but like once that last piece of clothing is done, it's just like, wow.
Kevin don't do his own
I feel
laundry.
great.
I actually recently, I trained. Can you? Oh, sorry. It sounded like something.
You
went out.
trained your dog to do your laundry?
Trained my,
He trained his daughter, probably.
Similar. I trained my 4-year-old daughter to fold
I
my
knew it.
laundry.
I fucking
She
Wow.
I knew it.
loves it.
Oh my God.
I get the basket.
Talk about
I fill it up.
continuing your
When are you going to come
manipulation.
to my house and show Emery?
Yeah, I
He
think
needs a
you're-
male role model like that.
You're doomed with Emery.
Oh, my God.
You are doomed. No, but she
He
loves
knows how
it.
to get him dirty. Does
Yeah.
she really?
I swear
That's so
to
cute.
God, she gets upset if I fold one piece.
That's
I
incredible.
don't know how I feel
Amazing.
about that.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I don't know how I feel about
ROI,
this.
return on my investment. with
Yeah,
your child.
great.
This is amazing.
So I
She
actually
cleans the house too.
what you were making fun of him for, I was actually having people do my laundry for a really long time, and I noticed that I couldn't do that anymore. Not for a financial reason, but these things that we slowly kind of take away from our lives will then replace with a habit of laziness. It is easier to attach onto that. So I didn't stop doing it because of financial. I stopped doing it actually because it creates me to be more prosperous.
Yep.
So do your laundry.
What do they say? Wake up every day and make your bed, right?
Exactly,
Like just
your
these
first
little,
task,
tiny.
first accomplishment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I love that.
So
Sometimes I do my own laundry.
Yeah.
so you have 2019 is when you went into treatment, correct?
Correct. Yeah, literally right in the beginning, January 8th, I got there.
Okay, so
Wait, when was COVID?
2020,
A year
March.
after, yeah.
Okay, so you weren't in. Okay.
So you got your first year pretty much out of the way before COVID. So you had a good foundation going into COVID.
Yeah, very much
Then
so.
you're-
But it was still detrimental for me.
Oh yeah, of
Very
course.
tough on
Yeah.
the meetings for me were never the same after. They shut down everything, and we had nowhere to go. So at a point, there was a men's meeting that I really liked. So I ended up just inviting these people to come to my house, which it did create us to build closer relationships with one another. And it ended up like 40 people showed up at my garage. So
Wow.
I found like
That
the
is
only church in all
love
of Palm
that.
Beach County that
Wild.
accepted us.
love
And I had
that.
to move all of these people to a church.
Dude, you helped all of those people.
Yeah, but
that's amazing.
The
That
whole
is amazing.
the whole COVID thing, just the meetings prior to, they were much more a family oriented feel.
camaraderie.
Yeah, and afterwards, this was the only meeting that I really had that feeling that of camaraderie, exactly, or of that family like feel. It was the last one,
Yeah.
and as it adapted, I kind of phased out of that meeting as well. But it is, it's definitely I lost my train of thought again with it.
No, it's
where
okay.
I went with it originally.
We were talking about meetings, and we were probably
Oh, how
talking
it
about
was
like
with the COVID. So
after
yeah, so
been sober for a year. You just experienced the happiest moment of your your
Yeah.
existence thus far. You're no longer numbing or coping with negative things.
yeah, so
You're feeling all of the feels.
yeah. So before COVID, great, everything going strong. Yeah, it ended up with it. After COVID, it kind of just pushed me away from meetings in general. I stopped going to them for a very long time.
Did you think about using again?
No, not really. It took a really long time, to be honest. Like the first 2 years of it, I had no itch in mind, just very,
God removed that.
just straight-minded, very linear path, just did not steer off of it. I knew exactly what I wanted. I had it in my projection, and I knew that it was reachable. So with that constantly on my brain, I had nothing to think about. But as business went on and I learned more struggles, and as the finances went up, the problems become a little bit more stressful in other ways. It did come back and smoke weed, definitely in the sense of calming down, but hard drugs,
No.
I still never had that. Like in the past, I had that feeling of the Xanax. Now it doesn't even occur in my brain anymore. Any of that, the itch to party, those nights in Manhattans. I burnt out after 2 years of it. I was not working a job. I was not working any 9 to 5. I never worked a real job besides being a chef at a couple restaurants, which I was great at. I loved to cook. but I never worked a real job until 22 years old. Never graduated college. I had no base of life.
Yeah.
You know, so I just stayed on like a very straight line projection, crammed it all in a couple years, and I learned a lot.
Yeah. So you said during COVID, the meetings kind of fell off.
Yeah.
You created a meeting, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Did your job that you had at that time? So how did you get to this three business,
Good
mogul
question.
that you are now? What's going? Yeah.
So, working, flipping burgers. My brother came down here to get sober about 8 months after I.
So your brother had an addiction as well.
Yeah, after his roommate overdosed and passed away, we kind of said, it's the end for you as well. It is time for your journey to
And
Florida.
is he younger or older than you?
3 years older than I.
Okay.
Yeah. And he came down here, and he was the guy that introduced me to MCA's, merchant cash advances. So we got into another office doing that again for a little bit. COVID hit. Office closed down for a few weeks, and then, with all of these financial problems, everyone started defaulting on their loans. So the industry just was not the tidal wave that it used to be. A lot of these major lenders closed down. So I started working for this guy, Greg. And I got my 215 license for life, health, and annuities, and I started selling life insurance. I brought my brother with me, started working for him as a sales agent as well. My brother went on to the backside for marketing and everything. That's what he thrives at. So we worked for this guy for about a year and a half, and my whole life I knew that I was meant for more, and I couldn't wait any longer. It was just one of those moments that I knew. So I told this guy, Greg, I'm done working for you. It's either I can own a business with you alongside me, or I'm going to look elsewhere. He said, okay, let me create a couple proposals. He created me a proposal 5 days later for this moving company. I took the moving company, learned a little bit about it over the next week, and I ran into this guy, Josh, in LA Fitness in Delray Beach. And he was the owner of the halfway house that I put my brother through after he got out of treatment. So
Wow.
I pitched him on the idea. I had maybe like $1,400 in my bank account, and I owed like $1,300 2 weeks later in rent. And he took the idea. 5 weeks later, we filed for a DOT license, and I've never looked back since.
Dang.
Yeah, after a year of that, we were able to raise enough capital, and we opened up 2 insurance companies, and we have not looked back since either.
Are you spiritual?
In a weird way, yes.
That just screams God to me. Like this timing, these moments, these things, like
it worked perfect.
Fate, whatever people call it. Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
awesome.
And with the whole God aspect, I do believe in a greater power. I do call it God, but I find still till this day a hard way of making it up properly in my mind. I understand that it is an evolution or a power greater than myself, but so with knowing that and knowing that God has a power greater than myself, I latch on to things that are naturally greater than me. So this, for example, 3 minds will create a podcast to be better than a person that's sitting in a chair alone most of the time because we just have more brain power. We've got more ideas to bounce off of each other. Brain processing just works so differently that your ideas will look completely different to someone else's. So it'll create a nicer storyline and everything. So with all of that, I definitely on the side of understanding that the power above us is definitely leading us in the direction we're meant to be in.
Yeah. Working for our greater good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So other than implementing that power greater than yourself in your everyday life to achieve long-term, abstinence, sobriety, what else do you do in your daily life today that helps keep you on the straight and narrow, that helps you not fall back into... Now, listen, the fears, they crop up. The resentments,
Always.
They crop up for me all the time. If I am not going to meetings, so I did the same thing as you during COVID.
Yeah.
I had a little hiatus from meetings, and then I started to see these areas in my life where I was just acting out, little white lies. A white lie then turns into my boss asking me about an expense charge, and then I'm just flat out lying about it. And then they start to crop up, and then they create that unmanageability in my head. And then my life becomes, okay, it's crazier than when I was even using at this point.
Yeah.
Like, well, what's the fucking point of being sober?
Yeah.
You know? So what do you implement other than a higher power and then the obvious, like some kind of maintenance, you know, going to meetings, self-help groups, whatever it may be? What else do you implement?
I think the most important thing to me is just constantly picking up the phone. I always ask questions about everything in my life. I just constantly admit to myself that I do not know what's going on and I need help to run my life. So that is,
Humility.
Such a
but again,
Humility.
But it's weird though, because you say humility, but again, naturally, I do not project a humble man in that sense. You know, maybe around my employees or when I'm with my grandmother or when I'm with my parents, but like I'm a very much so an extrovert. You know, and I will dabble in flashing sometimes. You know, not in the sense of a nude way, but in the sense of like a nice car on Instagram story or something.
Of course.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's funny.
So yeah, honestly, picking up the phone and constantly asking for help, that's like the greatest thing that I could
But it's
ever
a
do
choice.
to continue help.
It's a choice. You
Yeah.
you do both, right? Like
It's the hardest thing sometimes. That phone could feel like it weighs 1,000,000 tons.
What makes it easier today being humble? Now, I'm not saying you weren't humble when you were Long Island, Alec.
Totally not humble then.
But what
Spoiled brat.
was it because you were enabling yourself to be in a vulnerable position and then you realized, well, maybe it's not that bad to be in a vulnerable position. I can practice humility, because I feel like vulnerability and humility, they stem from one another, right?
Yeah.
Putting yourself in that vulnerable position and then enabling yourself to be humble enough, or vice versa, whatever it may be. But did you feel it for the first time and say, well, it's not that bad and I can continue to do this, or you saw results from it?
I think it was more of a results thing. Consistency over time equals results. And that's just kind of something that I had to prove in my own life to come to terms with.
Yeah.
You know? So definitely more on that side.
Yeah. It's funny because when we're vulnerable and when we're humble, those are actually the places of true strength, right?
Yeah.
When you're able to me, I call it like an awakening, you know? Like when you got sober, you kind of had an awakening.
Full rebirth.
Maybe it wasn't like all at once and it wasn't
Yeah.
like this big aha moment, like, I don't know, like some monk on a mountain somewhere, but this is like, and the habits, the little tiny daily things that you do every single day to ensure that, yeah, maybe I'm not awake 24/7. Maybe I'm not constantly like this vessel of purity, but like I'm blinking.
Yeah.
I'm in it. I'm doing the work. I'm constantly growing and evolving and changing and adapting and becoming Alec, you know, the best possible version. And I don't even like to say best, because it's like that implies that like yesterday wasn't as good. Like that's not what I mean, but you're just becoming who you're meant to be, right? Like,
Yeah, and every day it's a learning process. I'm nowhere near where I need to be.
right. None of us
know?
are.
And that's also one of my biggest struggles is just every day I ask myself, why aren't I there yet? You know?
Yeah. You struggle with that?
Yeah, 100% I
Like,
do. I have family that holds very high expectations, which it's not them that hold the high expectations. I hold it for myself because of how far they got in their life. You know, my cousin, world famous actor, does like 26 voiceovers for The Simpsons. My father,
What character?
Mo, Apu, Officer Wiggums, Crazy the Sign, like
Can
Krusty
I tell
the
you
Clown.
guys a secret?
Mo, you got
Watch The Simpsons.
dude.
Yeah.
I never
You've
have.
probably seen stuff that he's in, like if
I'm
you've
sure
ever seen
I have, but
Night
I
at
just
the Museum
never-
2. Have you seen that movie?
Oh, yeah. We just watched it on the cruise, me
Yeah.
and my kids.
He was the evil guy, Hank Azaria.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like I see him and I'm like, wow, he's made it. You know, and
So
then
it goes back to that comparison, that fear of not
100%,
being enough.
100%.
Wait, can we go back to your uncle? Wait, he does the Mo. It sounds like this.
Yeah. The bartender.
Does he have like a raspy voice?
Not at all. That's just how he does the voice.
Oh
so
my
he does.
God.
Yeah.
The secret
he's
is out.
Yeah.
Mo really doesn't have the groggy, scratchy
No,
voice.
not at all. He does 26 voiceovers. So
I'm
with The
scarred.
Simpsons, it's like very few actors and actresses that actually do it.
It's
they just
a
play a
couple
lot of
people who
different
do
roles.
a bunch of different things. That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, back
good.
to Alec.
Real
Okay,
business.
like
You're
we're
good.
literally talking
Yeah.
about how he feels not enough, and you're like, wait, no, let me talk
Yeah.
about the uncle
It's
again.
just like, and then my
Bring him back.
grandfather is another example. Like he
Yeah.
is like he has made it further than anyone in my family, in my eyes. Not in a financial standing, but like in a he's really made a point in his life. He was the first Jew to run for Attorney General for the United States.
Wow.
He was district attorney, assistant district attorney of Queens.
Wow.
He was the detective that saved the largest jewel heist in American history from the Museum of Natural History. Like he
I
just
thought he was going to say the largest jewel heist, like mango jewel pods.
no,
from, like Russia. I was
no,
yeah, I know
like
about that.
gems and rubies.
Dude,
this
that's
guy,
so cool.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
Dang, you come from a pretty nifty family. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Very much so on my father's side, and then my mother's side. You know, they're very more mellow and
The hippies.
low key.
My people.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
But okay, so have you gotten to the point where you realize that like your grandfather accomplishing all of those things, your uncle being this, like, have you gotten to the point where you realize that is also just another version of shit, like things, like success is an external validation, like you found happiness within. And all these other, like, of course, we want to do good work. We want to be good humans. We want to give back to society. We want to live a good life. But, like, I feel like that all the time when I think about, like, I want to be a UFC champion so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want. I think about it all the time. And I'm like, that's just another fucking thing, Kayla. Like,
Yeah,
what is it
exactly.
actually?
So, yeah, I've come to terms with it 100%.
Do you struggle with it? I guess I'm asking, do you struggle with it? Because I do.
It pops up. It
Yeah.
pops up here and there. I've come to terms with it a lot more because I understand that these fears are completely irrational because I do not know any mental struggles that these people or, you know, rest in peace if they've passed away, have gone through. I am fearful of not having what they had on the outside of their life.
Right.
And
Right.
that's it. I have no idea what the internal part of their life was like.
Right.
So, like, I need to remind myself, like, hey, the main part of their life, you know, the bread and butter of their life is their everyday, not what is posted,
Right.
you know?
There's no point in even trying to. Yeah, there's only one you. There's only one me. There's only one
Exactly.
Kevin. Nobody knows.
And the quickest way to get to where you want to be if you are really jealous of those things is just focusing on yourself. Quickest route, 100% of the time.
So, not last, but like we were talking about the small habits, and Kevin was trying to, I think for us, one of the reasons we started this podcast is because we want people to maybe not have a blueprint, but see over time a pattern
Yeah.
with people who rise above. So you talked a lot about picking up a phone.
Picking up a phone,
What else?
making sure you're surrounded by the right people. Again, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. If you got a good group of friends, you're going to have a good future. Just naturally, we're going to bounce our energies off of each other. So if you're around negative energy, you're going to have a shitty life. You know?
Let me ask you a question, Alec. Did you have that one friend growing up, and then when you got sober, that one friend that was always the bad influence? Like, you guys were bad together. Like, you were good people.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, when you and that one childhood friend got together, you came up with the sketchiest ideas and
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
did you keep that friend in your life when you moved into sobriety? Did you change the dynamic of that? Because that's an experience that I've had. And
He's probably sitting on my couch at my house with my dog right now.
I love it.
Yeah, he's my best friend from high school. He went through a very, very rough patch with addiction as well. It took about 4 years longer for him to grasp onto it. But he reached out to me and my brother one day for help. We were there immediately. We got him into rehab. He went through a halfway house, and he's living in his first apartment alone for the first time in like 9 years.
Wow.
Did you shove it down his throat, or was it a little more attraction versus promotion when it came to
I
him?
won't shove anything down his throat.
Okay, so that's important, right? You were a role model. You did what you had to do.
100%.
And did the next right thing, and you stayed sober.
Yeah.
And you did what you had to do, and someone noticed it. And how
You changed his life by just
He
doing the
changed-
next...
He changed his own life. that had nothing to do with me.
Yes, but by you staying sober. Now, look, was it solely you? Who knows?
It was 100% attraction thing. So a lot of things about just beating people down, you know, when they're being bad people, like they need to come to their rock bottom on their own.
Yes.
We can't force them there.
Yes.
And honestly, us
it's
trying
so
to do that
hard.
is just creating
It
us
is.
to be bad people.
So hard.
So like you said in the beginning, at the end of the day, if he wanted to continue to ruin his life and I saw that, I would just walk away.
Yeah.
That's it.
Have you had to do that with other friends?
Yeah, and those friends are dead. I have gone to too many funerals down here, from very close friends to, honestly, I only have one roommate left from all of the roommates that I had between my rehab, IOP, and halfway. They're all dead except for one.
That's wild. The odds of people
That's scary.
who get the percentage of people that actually go to a meeting and get sober and achieve 1 year is, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's very slim. I think
Very
it's in the
slim. It's
single
like
digits.
3% or
Yeah,
something.
it's very low single digits. And someone who achieves 1 year, the fall off is even greater, and so on and so forth. And it's so crazy how, you know, fortunate, you know, Kayla, even, you know, you with your story, it's not a sobriety story. It's a completely different story. It's a recovery story, recovery story, recovery story, right?
Exactly.
Like the odds and
Yep.
how lucky we are to have found recovery, a solution, got the help that we needed is a miracle in itself. So for the three of us to be
100%.
sitting here and talking about this, like, really makes you grateful.
Yeah, I should be dead or institutionalized
It's
or something.
insane.
Me too.
Yeah, I got away
Me
scot-free.
fucking too.
So lucky.
Same.
Yeah,
I
but
can't believe it.
for the ones that
Same.
are listening, best thing that you could do if you do have a person that is really like terrorizing the ones around them because of addiction, like the best thing that you could do for yourself is walk away, and it's the best thing that you could do for them as well.
The hardest, but the best.
The hardest thing for sure, because you continue to be there for them. They are going to reach out to you because they know that they will be able to achieve some sort of support for you. And by you staying there, you're just aiding to their addiction.
Enabling.
Yeah, 100%.
Enabling 101.
This is hard for me to hear. So my sister struggled. So I adopted my niece and nephew. They're my kids now. And my sister, the reason I adopted them is she struggles with addiction. And I think it's so important for family members to hear, because even, God bless my mother, you know, the hardest thing to do is to say, I'm not going to watch you kill yourself anymore.
Yeah.
Like you think we all have this illusion of control, right? Like if I just do this, if I just help her this time, you think you have some kind of control over what happens in her life. And I spent so much time wrestling with that idea that like I could save her. Like I'm God, you know, like I have that kind
Such
of
a
power.
painful idea.
Ugh,
Yeah.
it's hard to walk away from. I
Oh,
still
yeah.
have that illusion in my own life and with my kids. I don't know if you have kids, but I struggle. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
But I struggle.
should say that, right?
I struggle with that idea of like I can save them, I can heal them, I can. But it's like what you did with your friend, right? You be a role model. You
Yeah.
show them the way.
It's the best thing that we could do is just example setting. And with the whole, you know, walking away situation, a thing that really helped me remember to do that for the ones that were in that type of position in life was that the hardest decisions to make are hard for a reason, because success will not come easy. If that's in happiness, if that's financial, if that's image, whatever it is. You know, those hard decisions that you have to make, like waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, or to make the decision if you're going to take a financial risk or not. You know, they're tough decisions for a reason.
Yep.
And that's where you're going to find your greatest success. The easy decisions of being there and coddling and, you know, trying to control, you know, it is just going to deteriorate the whole situation that much more, you know?
We grow at the edges of our comfort zones.
Yes, most definitely.
So your advice to loved ones, family, friends of someone who is struggling and going through something is detaching.
Yeah, the
And
greatest gift my parents ever gave me was not talking
detaching.
to me then.
No longer enabling. Now, what would be your one piece of advice to someone struggling from
Yeah, to
addiction,
19-year-old Alec.
19-year-old Alec struggling from addiction, alcoholism, what would be one piece of advice that you would tell them right now?
Like in the middle of active addiction.
In the middle of active addiction.
Yeah,
And
like
they're
not
listening to
not
this
at rock
podcast.
bottom, but like, yeah.
Honestly, it's going to sound fucked up, but I'm going to tell them to find the fastest way to rock bottom as possible because that's their answer for happiness. They need to hit the ground hard and fast.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I'm so grateful for it. You know, I just hit it really hard. And I'm never going to put myself in that position again. You know, like there are nights that I still will tear up thinking about those nights that I was detoxing, sweating, puking on my mother's basement floor, you know?
Yep.
So, yeah, just whatever you're doing, just do it a little bit harder so you could hit the ground real fucking hard. And again,
It's sad, but
it's fucked up to say.
Yeah.
It's
It's
fucked
sad,
up to
but
say
true.
because of the amount of overdoses that are going on right now. And I am not God, so I do not have the answer to solutions to people's lives.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's what worked for me, and I've seen it work for a lot of other people.
Yeah, and I want to just really quick, to the viewer, if you're listening to this, that does not mean, and I'm being very serious about this does not mean if you're an opiate user, for example, use more opiates
Correct.
to get to it. That does not mean that. That doesn't mean drink more. That doesn't mean any of that.
Maybe just look in the mirror.
Yeah,
That means
look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror and get your road to recovery started as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if-
Because you make the decision at the end of the day, and you're not alone.
Yeah.
you're
And
not
you
alone.
also need to remember that it's okay to have a problem. Like if
Yes.
someone tells you you
Yes.
have
I
a
love
problem,
that.
That's
yeah,
huge.
If someone tells you you have a problem, you probably have a problem.
Yeah.
If it's on a scale from 1 to 10, if it's at 1 or at 10, I can't tell you, but a problem's a problem.
And it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It is
Yeah.
perfectly okay. I am a fucked up human being.
Yep.
My mind works in mysterious ways that some people just can't comprehend.
Yep.
And it is okay that I am weird and that I have a lot of problems in my life.
Yep.
You know, but when you come to terms
what a
with that
freedom.
again, exactly. Happiness is going to come in heavy waves when you come to that point.
I mean, look at us. We're just so cool and we're so fucked up. So,
So
it's kind of
cool.
cool to be fucked up.
Yeah.
You know? It's like
So
it's a great
cool.
thing.
I'm going home to watch a movie with my dog tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's my coolness. That's my evening.
Oh man, I think that's beautiful though. Like, yeah, it's okay to not be okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the best thing about it. Because realistically, there are just such few moments that you are really just okay.
Dude, I can think of like 2 in my
Yeah.
life, maybe ever.
Unless
and it
you're
was like
yeah.
the 1 second I was on top of a Olympic podium, and I was like, oh my god, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm not okay.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're like one of those people that are okay with just leaving your life as is with like 60 grand and going to Bali for the next 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like those people are always okay.
Yeah,
But
they find a
besides
way,
that,
yeah.
like, I'm never okay.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them in Florida, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Where are they?
In West Palm.
Yeah, West Palm area,
I
wherever
knew I
the
should
yeah,
have moved
wherever
north.
the yeah.
I knew I should have moved.
You
the
follow like
Treehouse.
financial cappas or party centers, and like that's where you're gonna find them.
Dude, she stayed in a treehouse for a weekend in West Palm Beach. She just
Yeah.
like
What do you mean?
babysitter, you gotta
No,
watch the
I
kids.
needed a momcation. So
She went to a
backstory:
treehouse.
I'm a single mom.
Okay, you
and-
made this sound like way weirder. Like she walked into
No.
some
She is
random
wa-
person's backyard and
No.
sat in their
Yes,
treehouse
that's
for a
what she
fucking
did.
week.
No.
No, I literally. So I fought in November.
Okay.
I had a procedure like 2 days after my fight. Then I went on a cruise with my kids and taught judo for a week. We stayed in the same bed. Then we came home for a week. Then we drove to Ohio, me and my 2 kids in the car, 16 hours straight.
Wow.
Had Christmas with my lovely but sometimes toxic family for a week straight. Then drove back from Ohio, 16 hours straight with 2 kids, 2 cats, and my mom. And I was like, holy shit, like I need silence.
Yeah.
Mom, can I go sleep in a treehouse for a week?
That's so funny.
And
So
yeah,
what was
dude,
it
that's
like
what-
an Airbnb?
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
I
that's
just like
great.
I was gonna go stay at a hotel on the beach, and I
Yeah.
just was like, let me look at Airbnb just for shits and giggles. And
Yeah.
there was this really cool tree house, and I was like, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
It was like 30 minutes from my house. I rented a truck because I was like, I want a truck, and
Yeah, it's
like
great.
I just like did what I wanted to do. I brought my little paint by numbers, and
Wait, what kind of truck did you rent?
I don't know. They just had like a Ram or something. I have just like been thinking about a truck, kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
So I rented a truck.
Well, you know who to ask. I'm the car
Well,
guy.
now
so,
I know.
if
Yeah,
you need
now I
advice
know.
for cars,
Alec, I'm
yeah.
going to be like, what
I
do
got
you think of this?
Exactly.
What's the best truck?
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? If you need to move, insurance.
Oh, if you need health
or
insurance,
a
life
car?
insurance, or you need to move your
Yeah,
house
now's
or
the
a
time
car.
to plug
Dude,
any of your sponsors or businesses.
Oh, so
no,
funny.
seriously,
So
if you
funny.
need to move, if
Yeah.
you need a car, if you need
What are your
insurance,
businesses called? Do they?
Alec.
So my moving company right now is called Vanguard Moving Services, which we are changing names soon. But besides that, I operate my 2 insurance companies under one business name, which is Stoic Insurance Group.
Stoic.
What we specialize in is actually providing free health care out of Obamacare to people.
Okay.
So we don't even take credit cards. We don't take payment. We don't do anything. We just make sure that people that are able to qualify for free Obamacare, that they have it and that they are properly signed up through their healthcare.gov profile. Make sure that they're directed in a proper fashion. And
have one of those.
Yeah, it's a great business model. It's a great wave. I think that it's really good for the people that just because these people that do make this type of income, realistically, their awareness is just so low for something like that. And it's not like they're doing it intentionally, you know, and they're not penalizing themselves in an intentional way to hurt themselves for it. They just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know,
Exactly.
which I don't know a whole lot.
How do you create that awareness? Do you serve ads, digital ads, to let people know that what they qualify for?
Really good question. I am not the leads guy. My brother is totally the leads guy. So
Okay.
all of that, I would totally have to base it off of his answers. But it is mainly generated off of online marketing.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
going to get Obamacare perks through your company, essentially. And
No, not even perks. You get the full insurance. If it's
Oh,
Blue Cross,
okay,
Blue
okay.
Shield, United, you know, whatever it is.
apologies. Okay, I
Yeah.
thought it was things that you qualify if you have.
No.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
it.
no,
Just
like
people that don't even have insurance. He's
yeah,
helping
like
them
we are
get
making
there.
sure that
Got it,
people
got
that
it.
qualify for free healthcare that don't have it, that they're on it.
That's awesome.
Badass.
And then moving just household goods, that's mainly what I focus on, people moving from home to home, interstate.
Well, listeners, if you need a mover and you hire him, it's going to be guaranteed that he'll be sober when he's moving your shit.
There you go.
So-
I'm actually not going to be moving your shit. I pay people to do that. I am like way
All right,
too
they'll
fat
be drunk.
to do that
no,
right
I'm just
now.
kidding. I'm kidding.
No, but they are really good people. The movers are great
Amazing.
guys. Yeah. Really, really good people.
I love that.
Yeah, I've had great success in the industry, good people around it. But it is a brutal industry to be in, to be honest. If there are definitely the horror stories of this industry are true. I am on the broker aspect of things, but we have found a clean way to go about it in a sense. Of course, there are going to be those gray areas in businesses anywhere, but it's brutal. You know, if you are working with the wrong types of carriers, there's a lot of problems, a lot of lawsuits, and
Oh my God, I can imagine.
yeah, so like we definitely went through learning lessons. It wasn't just like rainbows and blowjobs all day, every day. It was not
sure.
like that. Like not even like a single day for 2 years. Like didn't have one of those days, not once, for 2 years straight. And it definitely was
I
tough.
can tell
so
he's passionate about it, though.
yeah.
I love that.
If you
He's like,
go-
you hear
Yeah.
him,
He is.
hear him
If you-
talking about
yeah.
it and opening up. I'm like, okay, he found his passion.
And moving is very sensitive for people. So please take in mind any negative reviews that you may see. There are Karens in the world, and there are people that do get upset for, you know,
Legitimate reasons, yeah.
items that might have been broken. It happens. You know, there are
of course.
instances. It's a very sensitive industry to be in
sure.
the 2 industries I work in. They just happen to both make a lot of money.
Good for you.
Kayla, question for you.
Oh, God.
Do you think it's the obsessive compulsivity of addiction and alcoholism? Mm-hmm. And where I'm going with this
Oh, I know
is,
where you're. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
dude, you have so many fucking things going on at once.
Mm-hmm.
It
Oh,
seems
yeah.
like you have.
No, I
or
talked
like,
to you about this
or
when we
there's an-
first started talking, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I think that you just like traded one addiction for another. Like you
Yeah,
became
for sure.
a workaholic."
Dude, I had I was drop shipping at one point. I'm painting, you know, on another.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's like, I can fucking do that.
I could sell these. I
Yeah.
could sell them for like $10,000 a pop.
Oh, you're so funny.
Typical addict.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
started one, did 80% of it. You know, bought the best paintbrushes, everything, but didn't even finish.
Yeah,
it.
I'm very much so like that. I like throwing money at the wall sometimes and seeing if it sticks or not. You know, so
I do too.
yeah, it's
I have the
definitely
same
great.
problem.
But I totally traded addiction for another addiction with
Yeah,
this
man.
one. Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
taken over my life.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do to fix that?
I've already started it. I've been
Yeah.
leaving work a little bit earlier, so some days I'll actually leave at like
love that.
4:30 or
I love that.
5:30.
Good for
You know,
the awareness.
I don't
The
come in until 10
awareness.
o'clock every day now.
Structure.
Yeah.
You know, so
Good for
I
you.
do allow myself to get outside of the world. But
What do you do for fun? What brings you joy?
I love playing pickleball now. Again, I was a
snap.
I was a big volleyball player.
I love
so
pickleball.
Are you good?
I'm a fucking beast.
no way.
I don't know
I'm
about
literally an Olympic athlete. Like, what do you
So-
think?
Oh, that's pretty true. But you're gonna
I
have
can
to come
beat
out
you.
and see if you
All
can play
right,
or
Dad
not.
bods, bring it on.
Whoa,
I'll play
easy
you both
there.
at
Don't
the same
make me
time.
bring some heavy hitters with me. I know some fit people. I know some people at a gym.
No, I'm kidding. You guys look great.
Yeah.
You look great.
Thank you.
I'm actually not that good, but I do love to play.
It's so much fun.
I'm an amazing shit talker. That's
Yeah.
my skill set.
Yeah, great for sports.
Dude, I went to her house with all her friends from the gym, like
Yeah.
her coach, other
My
fighters.
coaches, my friend, yeah, my
It was
crew.
Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving.
Dude, we're playing. What was the dice game called?
Liar's dice.
Liar's
You'd
dice.
probably be
No,
good
I
at it.
thought
You'd
I
be
was
good at
competitive.
it.
Do you need to get away with a lie?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are done. It's not even a game
we're
for
gonna
me.
find
I
out
already
next
won.
Friendsgiving.
Okay,
we'll
cool.
See, son, because by the way,
Alec, you're invited.
Okay, awesome.
Ask
Guy
Kevin,
in the corner,
ask
you're
Kevin-
invited. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Hey, Phil.
No, we're definitely you're invited. Ask Kevin who won.
She
Did you
won.
win? Well, I got knocked
Yes,
out.
I won.
I got knocked out first.
Why do I
And
feel
then
like
was
that it
"All
was
right, I'm outta
Kevin's
here."
4-year-old that won?
No,
No,
I'm
joking.
you
won?
I'm a beast.
I was
Okay,
actually the first one knocked out by her mom, and
Dude,
I
that
had
was
to leave.
my
Yo,
mom who suffered from a stroke.
She was like, "Yo, I'm gonna like knock you out." To me, I'm like,
The
"Whoa."
mom said that to
Yeah,
you?
like,
Oh,
she just met me.
God.
She's like, but she was joking,
Yeah, of
obviously.
course.
But like
No,
very
she's so nice.
competitive.
She's a
You felt
sweetheart.
very
no,
attached,
she's a
though.
sweetheart.
She's wonderful.
Yeah.
An amazing lady. They're just so competitive.
Love it.
A little bit psychotic. You find
yeah.
your people.
Yeah.
And I had to, and they're all fighters. Like everyone has a cauliflower ear in there except for me. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I can't like really talk shit.
Yeah.
I'll get
You're like, I
beaten
better-
up.
yeah, I
you're the
better-
black sheep of the family. There.
Yeah. I'm like the wimp in the room.
He was like this the
Pretty boy.
corporate America. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little pretty boy.
Yeah.
There you go.
None of us have ever had a real job.
Yeah.
We're all like
See-
drags of society.
Living in Parkland on the
I
most
always
expensive street. No, I'm just
growing
kidding.
up, I always wished that I had a family like that because, like, I'm the only one in my family, like within like my brother and my parents, that is like any sense really athletic, you know, or will go hunting or anything like that. So, like growing up, I was always like, "Why am I the weird one in my family?
Right.
Why won't anyone do that?" But like now,
What
like,
made you like that stuff? Do you know?
no idea.
Just-
Like I'm the only one in my family that does it.
Huh.
So weird.
That's cool.
And I grew up in Long Island. There's like a lot of just rich white people that don't exactly do hunting things like that.
You like to hunt?
Yeah, I like
What do you
hunting.
hunt?
Like a month and a half ago, I just did some wild boar up in Okeechobee.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Really? Dude, that I want to go so bad.
So
One of
much
my
fun.
buddies just went to Okeechobee and he was
$200
like,
bucks. Yeah, a lot of fun. Anytime
dude,
you
I
want to
want
go.
a bow
yeah.
though. I want to do it with a crossbow.
You could go with a bow, spear, shotgun, rifle, pistol, anything.
Yeah,
they let
dude.
you go loose there. You could
All right,
bring
we're gonna
any
be
of your own
buds.
weapons too.
First
Yeah.
we'll play pickleball.
then
we'll
we'll
go
step
boar
up to the next
hunting.
level.
Okay.
Exactly.
Do you,
That's
what do you
cool.
sit in like a little like hut?
Oh no, it's like this
situation, or-
buggy that's like 6 feet tall that you're just
Is
like
it a luxury
trucking
buggy?
through.
You're like-
nothing
you're-
luxury about it.
Because then I don't want to go. I'm
Exactly.
good.
Now,
No.
if you're a prima donna, you should not be coming.
Kevin's like, can I wear my Gucci's?
Yeah.
Is there a,
You're getting
five-star
dirty.
little
Yeah, you're getting
car
blood on
that they
ya.
have?
I would love to take Kevin camping.
Yeah.
I crush camping. I could start a massive fire too.
Oh, I thought
I'm
you were
the
going to
fire
say that you would
woman.
cry.
That's my jam. I built for my birthday this year. I built a fire pit at my house.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Like with the stones and everything. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, me and
Yeah.
my buddy Michelle.
I need to
Michi.
push myself to do more missions like that.
Your
It's
house is like a
fun.
giant human playground.
No, it really is. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I look around and I'm like, dude, if I was a kid, I would never. I mean, I
Leave.
never want to leave now, and I'm
Yeah.
an adult. So
It's
as
like
a
a
kid,
park.
I'd be like, no, I'm not.
That's
going.
how I feel
I'm
where
not
I'm
going.
living
You
right
come
now.
over
I got
here,
it all.
Susie.
Dude,
you
it's
know?
like an adult's playground at my house. It's great.
cool.
Yeah.
So, what else? So pickleball, boar hunting.
Oh yeah,
fishing.
hunting. I love fishing.
me
Addicted to
too.
fishing. Like we'll
Yeah.
go every 2 to 3 months.
That's good. So you're gonna spend more time this
Yeah.
year doing things. That
Like
bring
2
you
weeks
joy.
ago, I did fishing charter out of Fort Lauderdale. Caught myself
Nice.
like 2 decent sized wahoo.
Nice.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
boy.
awesome.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of
love
fun. So yeah, honestly, that's what I keep busy with is just like outdoor activities. Big into it. I found like a bunch of nature
Do you
spots
feel
around
better
me as well.
when you're out? See, because I like this is when Kevin and I talked to each other. I said, okay, there are 4 things I do every day, right? Like I pray, I meditate, I spend time outside.
Yeah.
and I journal. Like there are a couple things that I do, but when I don't go outside,
Depression. Yeah.
I feel worse.
And that's the issue with me in Florida. I'm so sick of the summers. I need the sun, but it is just too hot outside for me.
Oh, see, no,
I
love
love
it.
the cold. Like my
Really?
house all year round. My house is set on, not auto, but 65 degrees.
Holy
like
shit.
any girl that I have,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
any girl that I have come over that I'm like trying to like date or whatever
I
it
don't
is,
go
you
below
know,
70.
everyone's like, "Why is your house so fucking cold?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just a psycho, I guess. You could leave now." Like,
Do you
I
at least
get
let
it.
him take
Deal
the sweatshirt
breaker.
home?
And then I have another AC unit that was installed in my bedroom that I keep at 63 degrees.
Oh,
I'm like a maniac for the cold. I love the cold.
do you like have a blanket?
Yeah, I sleep with a blanket and a sheet.
Poor girls, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Nah, now you gotta cuddle me.
Exactly. She knows what I'm thinking.
And he
That
has
manipulation's still coming into
exactly.
play.
Oh my
No,
god.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
I want to
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
no, thank you guys.
No.
You
thank
are
you.
you're the shit, man.
Totally.
Like
Appreciate that.
you're a role model.
Mhm.
You know, just a power of example. And
Thank you.
I really do appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story.
Yes. Thank you for your
and-
vulnerability.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
courage.
that is cool. Like that, doing that, and you know, just passing it along to help the next person
Mm-hmm.
is where it's at. And
Yeah. That's what people did for me. I owe it. I'm in debt to the world. So
yeah, if
We
this
all are.
episode
Yeah.
helps one, or if the podcast just helps one person, we've accomplished
Then
what
it's
we
worth it.
wanted.
Yeah,
you've successfully
absolutely.
won. Exactly.
One last thing too. Let's give the lady her flowers. She just signed with the UFC and
Oh,
has a
yeah.
Congratulations.
We're
Oh my
giving
God.
you-
Why didn't we
Oh
start
my
with that?
a massive shout.
Where's the belt now? Can someone get this thing for
It's
me?
coming.
It's
It's
coming. I
coming.
know it.
And Kayla is fighting. Can I can
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
Holly
it's,
home?
It's announced.
There you
We're
go.
good.
Yeah,
Cool.
in April.
Yep. April 13th,
I
UFC
am
300.
so proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
And give the lady her flowers.
Oh, thanks,
Yes,
guys.
I
No,
love it.
I honestly, yeah, this isn't about me. Like we do this to help other people, but my hope and my goal is that with a platform like that, we're able to help, even more people and have even more awareness. And by you sharing your story tonight, by you being vulnerable and opening up and letting people know that it's okay to not be okay. And
Yeah.
guess what? Like there is hope at the end of the tunnel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like that's what it's all about. And I'm so grateful to you for that tonight. So thank you.
Thank you both so much. You've got no idea how much this means to me at the end of the day.
course, man.
Like I said, just helping another person
Thank you.
selfishly helps myself, so I am now successfully happier this evening.
I love it. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, guys.